Hi, everybody, and welcome to the next summer internship series session, which is all about sample forms and briefs. Hi, my name is Jessica Almeida. I am a librarian here at UMass Law. We are going to start on the UMass Law Library webpage because, of course, I want to show you where our contact information is. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly or to lawlib@umassd.edu, and you can talk to any of our reference librarians about anything that you see here today. So I don't have a formal presentation. Instead, what I thought I'd do is we're going to go down to quick links and we're going to take a look at Lexis Plus and Westlaw Precision. We're specifically focusing on sample forms and briefs today. So when you are working on an internship or at a job and you don't want to start from scratch and your supervising attorney has asked you to draft something, this is a good place for you to come to kind of get something to start with. Don't have to reinvent the wheel. So today I'm going to start in Westlaw, and we're going to go right into precision. Now there's a few ways you can navigate to forms. The first way is that if you go under content types, the tab, you can go right here to forms and that will get you there. You can also go through jurisdiction. So if you go to state or the federal tab, pick your jurisdiction and then scroll down. There should be a section that says sample forms or forms. And then from here, you can either use your advanced search to do national search, or you can narrow by state or by topic. They also have this forms by publication. I want to just quickly remind you that sample forms are a secondary source. In other words, what you find in Westlaw is going to be different from what you find in Lexis. In both, you might find some court forms that they get specifically from the court off of their websites, but a lot of the forms that you see are created for attorneys by attorneys. Let's do an example. How about we are looking for a general power of attorney form and our jurisdiction will be Kentucky. Okay, so I know that my jurisdiction is Kentucky, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Kentucky, and then here I am in the form finder. Now, I can do a few things. The first thing is that I could go in here and I could just put power of attorney. I could also use my advanced search form, which if you have come to any of my sessions or watched any of my videos, you will know that I'm a huge fan of the advanced search form. Another thing we could do is we could do forms by topic. So we know that power of attorney is part of estate planning, so we could click on estate planning, and that would just continue to drill down until we get to the section of the forms we're looking for. Today, I'm going to go over to that advanced search. You know how much I love it. And we're going to take a look. So here is how we can refine our search. We can limit the results to include only civil forms, criminal forms, litigation forms, or transactional forms. We can use search terms, or we can search specifically in the form title. So today I'm going to do form title. And we are going to put power within 5 of attorney. Okay. And then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click on my search button. So for folks who are not using your terms and connectors yet, what I ask the algorithm to do is look for the words power within 5 words of attorney just in the title. And look, we've already got 833 results. That's just way too many to look at. And notice that the first thing that comes up is things that have to do with the IRS. And so that's not really what we're looking for. So let's go and use our filters to try to help us narrow down our results. So there's a few things we can do. We have jurisdiction. Now, we specifically had asked for Kentucky. However, many of these secondary sources are national are not jurisdictional specific. And so they threw those in as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to narrow it down to Kentucky, and that is only going to give me 22. So just by clicking the jurisdiction, making sure that that was correct, we have already narrowed our results down tremendously. So here you can see there's a bunch of different sections of the Kentucky Practice Series Method of Practice, which is a secondary source. And you can go down and you can look to see what types of forms that they do have, and if there's one that will help you with whatever you're looking to draft. So here's a form. It's the general power of attorney, and it's personal and business affairs. This sounds like it's on point. So let's go in it and take a look at what we see. All right. So once again, this is from the Kentucky Practice Series. That is a practice manual. It was updated in November of 2023. And it's from Probate Practice and Procedure. And it's part of Chapter 35, Collection and Management of Estate. So here you have your general power of attorney, and it gives you just a starting point. Obviously, you would need to edit this to include your client and their needs and wishes. Now, a great way to do this is that we could download this, and make sure when we're downloading it, we want to make sure that it's a Microsoft Word document. And that way, when we download it, we can easily type right into the document and make it specific to our client. Let's try the same search, but this time I'm going to do it in Lexis. So here I am in Lexis Plus. On the left-hand side, we always want to make sure our tile is on legal research. And then once again, same as Westlaw, we can either go by content or we can go under jurisdiction. But what you're looking for is this link to sample forms. Just like Westlaw, it's by jurisdiction or it's by practice area. So I'm going to go into Kentucky, and then I'm going to use my advanced search. I didn't mention in Westlaw, but it's similar to Lexis in that if you're new to terms and connectors or Boolean searches, or you don't remember which symbol does what, there is always a little cheat sheet in the advanced search. And so if you look over on your right-hand side, you say these use connectors. And these just give you some general ones to start with. You could also click this and view all of the connectors and commands, all the expanders, and it will give you a much larger list. Sometimes just using one or two connectors can make a huge difference. Now, for sample forms, the advanced search in Lexis, it's a little bit more detailed. So you could do it by title, by section, you could look for a specific publication, or you can do it by the terms. So in the title, I'm going to put power within 5 of attorney. And I'm going to go ahead and click the search button. All right, so this gave us 14 results, which is great. And it looks like the top one is right on point. So I'm going to go ahead and click into it and let's take a look. All right, so this is a LexisNexis form. You can see over on your right-hand side, it tells you the source information. So this is from a secondary source called Caldwell's Kentucky Form Book. And it is a durable power of attorney. Once again, you would need to download this. You can go over here to the top right and download this. And you want to make sure that the document format is Microsoft Word. And that way, when you download, you can easily type in your client's information. Notice on the left-hand side, it also has the table of contents. So if this was close but not perfect, it looks like they have another form. So I'm going to click into the next section and it will show you a similar but different durable power of attorney form. That is sample forms and how you would go about trying to find what you need here, either in Westlaw or Lexis. The next thing I'm going to show you is briefs. So I'm going to start in Lexis. Why would you need this? Well, sometimes if you are working on something, it's good to see what has already been done. So we're going to look at some briefs and pleadings and motions that are depending upon, what court you're in, what jurisdiction. Sometimes it's good to get a sample so you can see what's the format look like, what cases did this specific attorney or firm use, and that sort of thing, just to have a starting point. So you can go ahead and on the content, you can click briefs, pleadings, and motions. You can decide by content type. So if you wanted like a motion for summary judgment, you would click on motions. If you needed a brief on a specific issue, you could click on brief. You can also do it by jurisdiction. So we have the federal and state. And there's also a section on practice law as well. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a complaint for a wrongful termination. So I'm just thinking about, let's see, let's do it from Massachusetts. Let's make that our jurisdiction just to kind of narrow it down a little bit. So I'm going to go into Massachusetts and it brings up our advanced search form. Once again, your connectors are on your right-hand side if you need them. And then we have different segments or fields in the document in which you can search in. I'm probably just going to use different terms to see if we can find what we need. So we want to do all of these terms. Let's do complaint, but let's exact this phrase wrongful termination. So I'm going to hit add, and then we'll go up and see in our search bar is done the terms and connectors for us. That gave us 298 briefs, pleadings, and motions. Now, I specifically was hoping for some type of complaint, so I'm gonna go, let me see. It's giving us, let's just look at the limiters and see what we see. Okay, so they give you the motion type here. So we have the motion for summary judgment, motion to venue change. There's like a whole, there are a lot of different choices, but I'm more looking for a motion outcome. Maybe let's take a look at the court. So here in Massachusetts, let's say that we are looking for something specific in the Superior Court. That's the court that we're going to be in. So I'm interested in what briefs or memos we can find to help us. And so here are some for us to take a look at. So let's take a look at this one. verified complaint, it's a pleading. And here is, so the source information, it came from Massachusetts State Pleadings. It has the original source image. So as you can see here, it shows the docket. It shows that it comes out of the Superior Court of Massachusetts in Middlesex County. It even gives you a docket summary, which is generated by AI. So, always make sure that you do your due diligence. And then it gives the text. Now, if you wanted to see the original source image, we would just go ahead and click here. I'm going to open that up, and then it shows you the actual filing with the court. Okay. This time in Westlaw, I'm going to do it slightly different. So instead of doing wrongful termination, maybe I'm interested in a fair use claim. So federal copyright. Now, say that I'm interested in a specific section of fair use. For this instance, let's say the third factor, which is, a portion of copyrighted works. So because I know the statute, I'm gonna go in that way. So let's go into federal materials. We're gonna go into the code. Let's see if we can get it this way. If not, we will go in a different way, but let's see. So fair use is USCA, and that's section 107. Okay, so it came right up. Awesome. Now, if I'm looking for briefs that take on specifically factor 3, is it factor 3? Let me double check that. Yes, factor 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into citing references, and I'm going to look at appellate court documents. They also have trial court documents as well, but for this, we're just going to go into appellate. Now, once we're here, we still have so many. There's so many briefs that are associated with this specific statute. So we need to limit. We need to use our filters and do some limiting. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to search within my results. And so, like I said, I'm specifically interested in factor 3. So we want to look at the portion. So I'm going to put in some of the language specifically from the statute. Portion of copyrighted work. Okay. And so now I'm going to hit continue. And remember, in Westlaw, you always have to hit that blue apply button. So important. And remember our terms and connectors. I wanted to use it as a phrase, so I put it in quotation marks. And that kept all the words together. Now, we just went from over 1,000 results to 12. So we know that we're in really good shape. So here's a brief. Let's see, what else do we have? Copyright clearance from 2016, reply brief. So here's another brief. Let's see. Here's a brief for appellant, June 22nd, 2009. So we can go ahead and click in here, and it will give us a sense of what an appellate brief looks like from the Fourth Circuit that specifically looks at fair use and the third factor of fair use. So here you have, now this is the Westlaw version in the database, but if you wanted to see the original image, you would go ahead and click this link here and download it, and then it would show you what the brief of the appellant looks like, what is the format that was used, and then of course it has your table of contents and the argument that was used, which will have all sorts of good case law for you to dig into. So I am going to stop there for tonight, but I do want to bring us back to the library website. If you have any questions at all about sample forms and briefs, how to do any type of searching in Westlaw or Lexis, please feel free to reach out to myself directly, or you can contact the library information desk. Our phone number, our email address are right there on the library website.